Why as people, we don't just want money, but we want it to be seen? We'll get that answer because today we're watching our unique obsession with money.
In this video, I want to answer the question of why are we as black people and black culture so obsessed with flexing or showing off physical money? And I was curious if there was any historical context or reason to explain why we are the way we are. And I think I found it, and I was able to come up with my theory as to why this may be. So let's talk about it.
I mean, that's easy. This world's all about money, and you need to figure that out. Once you figure that out, you'll be better off in life.
Hey. Okay, Prince, we see you. Production uptake.
Money runs the world.
Right.
It allows you to eat, have a place to sleep, receive help from doctors, go to college, buy time, reduce suffering, create choices, and decide how much freedom you're allowed to have in your life. Literally everything is the thing that decides how comfortable your life will be. And that's for all people. But in black culture, we have created a way to flaunt wealth that is unique to us. We have created a culture around the concept of showing off your wealth or perceived wealth in a very visual way. And this doesn't just go for money. It goes for anything that will make another person look at you and think that you have a lot of wealth. Whether it's clothing, shoes, cars, jewelry, a big house, expensive trips, etc. Basically anything that shows people you got it like that. Even if some people don't actually have it like that, it doesn't matter. It's just the look of it all.
Exactly. It's called fake flexing. But I ain't gonna lie, fake it till you make it is a real damn thing. Don't get it twisted. Bunch of rappers have rented cars to make it look like they have hella wealth, or look like, and you know, they ask girls to come to the video to look like they have hella hoes. Fake it till you make it works.
Because most people won't know your personal financial situation. So it's just all about the look and perception of it all. And money is just a part of the things you can show off that gives someone the look of riches and success. And we have honestly perfected all the ways you can flex physical money to the point it has really become an art form. We got money phones where you get a stack of money and put it to your ear like you're on the phone. We got spreads where you fan out a stack of money showing the denomination of your bills in your stack, usually to show people that it's all $100 bills and not ones. And the art of spreading has evolved from just a simple spread to all these different creative ways to spread money in the air or on your body, with rappers like Kodak Black popularizing spreading money across his body, and with other people popularizing the different ways you can spread money in the air.
You ain't gonna stretch it though. You ain't gonna stretch it though. You ain't gonna stretch it though. You ain't gonna get in there. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Let's go for it. Oh, okay. Let's go for it.
Uh-oh. Okay, Pooh, what you got for us? What you got for us?
Okay. Okay.
Oh, all right. Let me get a 20, Pooh. Let me get a 20.
We got people making art with money, with rappers like Hot Boy posting a picture on socials of him making a wheel out of money and it going viral. Also a trend that happened around 2021 where people would make a word or a sentence with all money and then take a picture standing in front of it or laying on the ground with it and post it on social media. We even have bouquets made out of money to celebrate birthdays or special events.
All them hoes is $1. Don't even get me wrong. I need a couple dollars. I love a bouquet like that.
And sticking with birthdays, we even have a thing in our culture where when it's your birthday, you would wear a ribbon or a sash that had money pinned to it. And last but not least, we have a whole concept of ways to throw money at the strip club with things like making it rain. We have basically created a culture and identity around showing off physical money in the most creative ways. And hear me out, I'm not trying to sit up on no high horse or anything. I've taken part in trying to show off as well, but this is just an analysis of our culture. Now, before you get in the comments to tell me how all races and cultures of people flaunt their wealth, that is true, but that's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm aware that all races and cultures have their own ways of showing off wealth, with some being very visual and some being hidden or discreet. I mention this because I know a lot of people like to hate or talk bad about black people who like to show off their wealth and make it seem like black people is just so dumb with their money and all that. Like, that's not what I'm here trying to do. This is just an analysis of our culture, because I understand when black people show off wealth, a lot of times it's connected to the concept of new money, which means a person who has garnered a lot of money or more money than they had before for the first time, which means they're new to having a lot of money. And a lot is subject to each individual's.
That was real. That may have been pulled from the Urban Dictionary, but that's real as hell. Start getting some traction, some motion You want people to know about it because you didn't have something before, so you want people to know that you got something now.
Like personal life experience. And when someone is new to having a lot of money for the first time, they can feel an urge to make it visible and known to everyone that they now got money. That instinct shows up across every race and culture. We see it with athletes, entertainers, tech founders, lottery winners. Basically any group that goes from not having to having quickly will have the urge to show it off, as I will explain why later on the video. But when it comes to parts of Black culture, we are very visual and creative with our ways of showing off money. And I was curious as to why. Because I look at the world as a cause and effect when it comes to everything. Because we are who we are based on our past generations of families and societies. And when it comes to Black people in America, we have a history that is unique to us, which I believe can explain the phenomenon with our obsession with flexing physical money the way we do in our culture.
The cause.
So, when it comes to the history of Black people in America, specifically descendants of slavery, a lot of things that are part of Black culture trace back to slavery and post-slavery generations. And it is just because the way culture is formed and created. Culture is basically created when groups of people live under shared conditions and repeat behaviors for generation after generation. Those repeated behaviors become tradition, and tradition becoming normalized is what we later would label as culture. An example to make this clear, let's take a look at an analogy. Imagine there's a large open field with no paths, but you need to get to the other side of the field. At first, people will walk in different directions, but over time, most people will take the same route because it's the safest, fastest, or most practical way to get to where you need to go. After enough people walk that same route day after day, year after year, a dirt path will eventually begin to form. Eventually, that grass will disappear on the trail and the path will become more obvious. And at this point, no one will question why the path is there anymore. People don't even think about it. They just follow it. That's exactly how culture is created. The path is created through repeated patterns similar to culture. So when it comes to Black culture, we're often looking
Beautiful analogy. I really fuck with Prince.
at traditions or cultural patterns that was passed down, creating paths that can be traced back to slavery and post-slavery systems. And I want to make it clear before continuing that I understand that everything isn't because of slavery, but slavery was the starting condition that shaped adaptation. It's the open field in the analogy. So our Black ancestors started a lot of the traditions and paths that we've built our current culture on top of today. So what does all this have to do with our obsession with flexing money? So today, flexing money is mostly just a cultural thing, mostly. It still has some roots tied into other things I'm going to get into, but I want to understand why it even became a cultural thing to begin with. Basically, why was that path even formed in the open field? But to understand this, we have to go back to our history. So during the beginning of slavery in America, it's important to understand that our prior culture and traditions that was passed down, basically our previous paths that we used to follow in West and Central Africa, was basically erased, because the system of slavery depended on breaking identity, separating families, banning languages, and spiritual practices, all for the purpose of preventing unity, resistance, and identity. This is what essentially created our now new open field in the analogy, because we basically had to start over with creating new traditions and cultures in this new world of America where we had to live in as slaves. And during slavery, we were poor, of course, because we were working about 10 to 16 hours a day and about 6 days a week, all while receiving about $0 an hour for our services. And after slavery, we were technically free, but still forced to survive within the American system that denied us land, fair wages, education, and access to wealth, almost essentially keeping poverty as the default starting point for generations. And this created a thing called poor insecurity within the Black community. Poor insecurity is basically the anxiety that comes from living so close to financial collapse that your sense of safety, control, and self-worth feels constantly threatened. When survival is uncertain, people will look for visible proof and reassurance for themselves and others that basically say that they're not failing and they're not powerless because of their financial situation. This is
That was real. Damn, cause I'm feeling it.
Because when you're constantly fighting an uphill battle and having to deal with racism and oppression and not given fair opportunity to grow financially and comfortably provide for your family, you create coping mechanisms to help create a new reality of your situation. And over time, that coping mechanism, it turns into placing value on things people can see, like clothing, cars, jewelry, and other symbols of success, because visibility and social validation basically becomes like an emotional armor that provides short-term relief from the fear and shame and instability tied to your living situation. And that coping mechanism is one of the main reasons why, as I mentioned earlier about new money concept, that makes people that earn,
Yo, got this pastor, this church music in the background, ain't it?
or come across a lot of money, have the urge to show it off. They're still battling their prior poor insecurities. But when it comes to parts of the Black community, that coping mechanism was passed down across generations as like a survival strategy, and then became familiar, then traditional, and eventually normalized within Black communities. But not because it defies Black culture, but because people were locked out of money and opportunities for a really long time. And we basically turned that insecurity into a beautiful and creative and fun culture that has continuously influenced the world. Also, I want to make this clear. Poor insecurity is not a Black thing. I know a lot of outside cultures or people like to associate the poor experience with Black people, but poor insecurity can be developed by any person or any race who grows up poor. And this isn't something that just happened back in the day. People still currently have poor insecurities and still are battling with those every day. If you grew up in a poor situation or you felt like you were poor and embarrassed by the situation, a lot of people are still battling that today. But how does all this connect to money phones and spreads? Well, physical money is just another symbol of success, like jewelry and cars. Stacks or spreads of money is basically like trophies, showing you beat the game in a sense. And as mentioned, it's emotional armor that provides the relief from the fear, shame, and instability tied to one's current situation, whether they're still living in an unstable situation, or even just they have money now, but it can still be tied to their insecurities of their poor upbringing. But this only explains why one person does it. This does not explain how it became the cultural phenomenon the way it is today. So I believe it became a culture.
It became the cultural phenomenon because that shit looked cool. Because that shit makes it feel as if like, yeah, I got something. In this world where nobody really has anything, I got something.
Thing because of two main amplifiers. And these amplifiers basically allowed Black people a way to earn life-changing amounts of money like never before. So, what are those two amplifiers? First, we have the rise of the drug entrepreneurs in the late 1960s, or as most people like to call them, drug dealers. Drug dealers are important because they were one of the major inspirations in the Black culture, because a lot of them had the rags to riches stories, meaning they came from poor families or situations, and through their business of selling drugs, they were able to accumulate large sums of money. And with their business being illegal, this meant that most didn't put their money in banks. And not to mention that a lot of Black people also didn't trust banks because of what happened with the Freedmen Bank in 1874, causing a lot of Black people basically to lose their money and trust in banks. So this basically meant that a lot of successful drug dealers had a lot of cash on hand. And this became one of the moments where having stacks of money in your possession became a symbol of success and that you made it out of your prior situation. And these successful drug dealers went on to inspire Black culture for many years and generations in the ways on how they showed off that they had money. But a lot of their lifestyle aesthetics was only known within the culture through word of mouth or through seeing the things they purchased. And a lot of their lifestyle wasn't documented at the time. Like they weren't on no Forbes list or anything like that because their work was illegal, but their lifestyle was still influential to the Black community. And now we get to the second amplifier, and I'm sure y'all probably can guess it, which is the creation and evolution of hip hop.
Paper, you understand me?
Of course it's 50 Cent. Of course it is.
Money when he's out there in Vegas gambling. You see that? You can look at that. You can get close up if you want to look at that. You can look at that and try to figure out how much that is. Huh? Figure out how much that is.
Damn,
Stash,
50?
nigga, this is a stash. You see what I'm saying? And other shit from. If your shit can fit in a night box, it ain't enough. You know what I'm saying? Get your weight up.
So, hip hop has a lot of influence from the drug dealer culture and their lifestyle aesthetics when it comes to how you show people you are getting money now. So, when rappers started getting a lot of money from the rap music, you'll start to see the evolution of the ways rappers showed off that they had money. And it didn't start off with showing off stacks of cash when it came to like music videos and such. because you got to remember, before social media, there was only a couple ways to engage with your favorite rapper to basically get a glimpse of their lifestyle as a famous rapper, which was usually through, obviously, the music, of course, music videos, concerts, award shows, and magazines. And as technology improved, we also started getting things like blogs and then social media, which allowed the fans to have more access to the artist's lifestyle. And I'm not saying early rappers didn't talk a lot about money in their music, but what I am saying is a lot of them didn't show off stacks of money when it came to the music videos and those other platforms you would engage to see the artist at that time. During that time, a lot of rappers, it just started.
I'm too young to know about any of the things that he showed us because I'm just not tapped in. I wasn't listening to music. I didn't start listening to music until I was like, I want to say like 15, bro. I did not listen to music until I was like 15, so I have no clue about anything here. If I'm quiet, if I'm silent, that's the reason.
With clothes and jewelry and other symbols of success like cars and such. But then as hip hop grew and artists started making the most money they ever have from hip hop, and as technology grew, giving fans more ways to see the artist, we also started to see the most money start to get flexed and showed off.
Woo. Yeah, man. Whole lot of reps, man. Whole lot of jumping jacks. You niggas want to work out, you muscles, you big muscle motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? What you gonna do when it's time to pay your bills? You gonna hit the gym then?
Yeah, nigga, I'm ready to hit the gym and make money. Fuck, what did you thought this was? You think it's mutually exclusive? Motherfucker, two things can be happening at the same time.
When this shit get real. You know what I'm saying? I know. Whoa, two racks, big racks. Uh-oh. 223, man. Go get the album. Album dropping 223.
Who blood ass?
Man, on behalf of Emily CMG, man, you deserve this shit, baby. You know what I'm saying, man?
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Count that up, man. Tell me, add that up.
Damn.
Add that up.
What they see here?
Man, you deserve whatever it is. You deserve it, man.
Blues.
You deserve it.
Blues. Blues.
Blues Brothers.
Damn.
1.5 to be exact.
What that is, cuz?
On some more shit.
What that is, cuz? Hey, cuz, what that is, cuz?
For me, man. Nigga, 1.5 million, nigga. 1.5.
What that is, cuz?
Yeah, 1.5 to be exact.
Motherfucker, throw me a couple of dollars.
Let me get out the car with this, man.
That's the speaker, man. You heard me? That's the speaker. That's the speaker.
Next year, just go. But I just prefer to chew gum once I'm training, and so I typically.
And this was big because, as I mentioned, a lot of drug dealers were already living this lifestyle, like the lifestyle of the rapper, in the sense of having, like, you know, they had a little local fame, having a lot of money, having jewelry and cars and all that stuff. But it wasn't the same kind of spotlight that the rappers got. Rappers were allowed to show off their money and their lifestyle through all forms of media as media and technology grew freely, because being a rapper wasn't a crime, and being a rapper requires you to be on camera. So I believe a lot of earlier Black culture was shaped by the coping mechanisms rooted in poor insecurity, placing the value on visible success as a way to reclaim one's dignity and self-worth. That mindset then collided with the rise of drug dealer culture, where some Black people for the first time had access to large amounts of money, becoming the new money of the Black community and creating a lifestyle aesthetic designed to prove that they were getting money now. Hip-hop artists later adopted that same aesthetic, but now with a spotlight, a microphone and a camera, and documented for the world to see. And honestly, almost getting rewarded for documenting this lifestyle. Stacks of cash, luxury, excess, money wasn't just earned, it was displayed for everyone to see. And over time, that repeated imagery stopped being a statement, I believe. It basically became normalized. And so now flexing money isn't just something rappers do, it's something everyday people in the culture do too. Often without even thinking about it, creating that path in that open field of Black culture. And I want to be clear, I'm not saying it's a bad thing or we need to necessarily change who we are, because I think it's cool that we are, like, you know, the flyest culture when it comes to the things we do and our need to show off and show out. I believe it give us some unique character traits, ideas, and just like a certain creativity that goes on to influence and inspire other races and cultures around the world.
That's
But I
hard.
will also say that I
hard.
think we should find a balance as a culture in being fly and showing off by protecting our mental health and not letting our self-worth become so dependent on money and validation or what other people can see, but letting our self-worth be defined by our character, creativity, and sense of purpose, not just our possessions. Because when you go through periods of life when you don't have these possessions, which will happen because life is ups and downs. If you live long enough, you know you have your highs and you have your lows. And when you're going through your lows, not having those possessions will make you very depressed and eat at your soul, getting you to do things out of your character just to obtain those possessions. So I think we should be conscious of this. And I'm not saying...
He said, yeah, bro, you got to be grateful for what you got before you start doing strange things for a piece of change, gang.
Not doing the things that we think is cool and fly, but just really being aware of how that is affecting our brain and our decision making as we go through life and grow as people, because everything we do affects the world, and being in our best mental state during those ups and those downs. But let me know your thoughts on this topic.
Hey, bro, I appreciate you, Prince. Yo, you already see that I'm subscribed to you. Thanks for keeping my ear to the streets and what's going on in our community. What's going on with people just in general, because I think this is something that every race does, all ethnicities do. Tell me what your guys' thoughts are down in the comments. Let me know if you guys have ever been flexing some dollar bills. I don't have the cash to do it. I have in the past when I wasted some change that I shouldn't have, but it is what it is. You live and learn. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Like up, sub up. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are down in the comments below, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.